Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're watching this, know that I appreciate it. Um, Today I am doing this video to go along with the blog Absent Fathers and Unpaid Child Support. The blog is wordpress.com/JAIAR 2009. I will also put a link to the blog directly, to the article directly in the description box of the video. But as I said, this video, and I'm going to try to make it quick because I don't know if you can hear this or not, but my apologies, I thought I secured that well enough. But I am fixing dinner because I only have a short amount of time. I've got somewhere to be at 6. So I'm going to try to make this quick. I tried recording this yesterday and it didn't work. And let me say this. Initially, when I was going to do this, I kind of second guessed it, as I do with a lot of the topics that I write on, that I blog on. I second guessed it. One, because this does hit close to home. And I didn't want to not necessarily not put my business out in the streets, but I didn't want people to get the wrong idea of why I'm posting this or why I'm doing this. And two, because I didn't want the people that are close to me to be negatively impacted by this. So yeah, I hesitated initially, but you know, when God tells you, as I said before, when God tells you to do something, you do. You must be obedient. So again, absent fathers and unpaid child support. I did not grow up with my father in the household. My children did not grow up with their fathers in the household. And yes, I said fathers because I have 3 children, 2 different fathers, one of which I was married to. One of which, the same one that I was married to, I was with him for 12 total years. But at one point we separated and then subsequently divorced. And my children from that point on were raised without him in the household. My grandchildren are being raised at this point without their fathers in the household, their father in the household, I should say. And I feel bad about that because I know how it impacted me as an individual, and I see how it impacts my children as individuals. So I hate the fact that my grandchildren will have to go through the same transition. My prayer is that my son, the one that has the children, does a better job at interacting with his children and being a part of their lives than his father did and his stepfather did. I don't know that parents understand, fathers specifically understand, what it means to have the father in the household, what it means to have the father as an integral part of your life, and how that impacts the child and who they are emotionally, and how it may explain some of their character traits to them, how it may explain some of the way why they think some of the ways that they think, some of the things that they think, I should say. So I myself, without my father in the household, well, let me say this before I say that. The father is the head of the house, the provider, the protector. And I'm not saying, in any of this that I say, I'm not saying that the mother cannot do certain things to raise her children alone. But what I am saying is that, biblically speaking, her role is not that of the father's. Her role is as the nurturer. Now, again, I'm not saying that the mothers can't do anything, because I raised mine majorly on my own. And I could teach them how to be respectful and well-mannered. I could teach them the ins and outs of the household, how to pay bills, how to do laundry, keep the place clean, how to work hard outside of the home as well as in the home. I could teach them all of that, but I could not teach them how to be men. I could not do that for them because I am not a man. I don't know what it's like to be a man. I've never been a man. So I could not, in good conscience, teach them how to be men. Only a man can do that. Only a man can cover the household the way a man covers the household. Only a man can provide and protect the household in a certain way. Yes, the mother, the woman, can do many things as a parent, as a single parent, but she cannot teach the children how to be a man. She cannot build the kind of relationship that the son specifically can have with their father. She cannot teach the daughter what to expect from a man if that man is not in the house. She can teach the daughter what to look out for. She can teach the daughter how to hone into her gut and increase her discernment, but she can't do the daddy-daughter dance. She can't give the male viewpoint of what it's like to be a man in a relationship. She can't go to, or the daughter cannot go to mom and say, well, what does he mean when he says this? The mom can only give her opinion of what she thinks the man means. However, the father can say, as a man, this is what that means. So growing up not having my dad there, I did have to suffer through some things. And for a very long time, I was uncertain of his love and concern for me. Not because he was absent 100%, because he was around from time to time. He would come and visit, or I would spend time with him in my grandparents' house. But because he's a huge part of my identity, and not having that there, not having him show me or demonstrate that he loves me on a regular basis, was difficult for me to deal with. And subsequently framed how I viewed relationships. And I would say the same with my children. Not having their fathers there framed how they view relationships, what their roles were in relationships. And our prayer is that it does not happen with my grandchildren. The father is the foundation. He is the seed that is planted within the mother, and the mother fertilizes the seed. But the father is that foundation. The father, as I said, is the protector. He is the provider. He is the guide. He is the covering. And when that covering is lifted, when that protection is lifted, when that guidance is lifted, it allows for things to happen that probably otherwise would not happen. Now, I will insert this here. I am only speaking from my experience and from the information that was given to me by others who have gone through the same thing. So don't take this as an end-all be-all, but take it for what it is, my opinion of what it looks like not to have the father in the household. Once that covering is lifted, it allows for things to happen that should not happen, and most likely would not have happened if the father were in the house. And if he's not physically in the house, I'll say not involved, to take it even deeper, because it could be that he is in the house. And in the situation with my parents, my mom was 15, my dad was 16. So there was no way for them to be in the same household together because they were living with their parents. They were teenagers. So it's not always possible for the father to be in the household, but the father is still capable of being actively, positively involved in their child's life. So I would like for the men and women to really consider the importance of having that male figure in the house. Yes, my children did grow up with stepfathers, and if the stepfather wasn't there, they had my grandfather because he was a huge influence on my life and very present, but he was not the father, and the stepfathers are not the fathers. So it's good to have that, but there's nothing like having that bloodline connecting, that father and that child connecting and becoming one and communicating and learning from one another and increasing in love and demonstrating what love really looks like, especially from the father. So that's my overall opinion of the absent father and what it looks like from the inside out. Again, foundation. You typically carry the father's last name, whether married or unmarried. Being the parents, that is, the parents married or unmarried. You typically carry the father's last name. That last name is your identity. And if that father isn't there, you still have no idea who you are. You're just carrying this person's name, but you don't know what that means. Thankfully for me, I knew who my father's parents were and his siblings, and I was around them on a regular basis. So I got to see my identity in them. But from him, not so much. Thankfully, the same thing happened with my children. They were around their grandparents. They were around their aunts and uncles. They were around cousins and extended family. So they got to see their identity that way, but not 100%. I won't even say 100%, not even 50% from their fathers. So having the father in the household is important, or at least actively, positively involved. Now, as far as the unpaid child support is concerned, I believe that a lot of fathers, a lot of non-custodial parents, I will say, I won't just say fathers, because there are some mothers that don't have custody of their children and they have to pay child support. I think from what I have witnessed, I think that a lot of non-custodial parents that pay child support believe that the funds that they send for that child are being used in other ways, and it's not going to the child at all. And in some cases, that is absolutely true. But in most cases, it is not. In most cases, that child support is doing just that, supporting that child with where they live, what they eat, what they wear, and in some cases, where they go to school. It also assists with extracurricular activities. That's what that support is for. Food, shelter, clothing, education. It's not for mama to have a Gucci. It's not for mama to have red bottoms. It's not for mama to get new hair, new nails, new clothing. 9 times out of 10, and that's just me throwing out my numbers, 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what that money is being used for. Food, shelter, clothing, education. Period. You have no idea what not receiving child support means to that household that the support goes to, or is supposed to go to, when you're not there. For me, I worked almost the entire time that my children were little. There were a few times that I was unemployed when I was raising them. But I never made a tremendous amount of money. So when the fathers of my children did not pay child support, something was lacking. I always made sure they had food. Wasn't Benihana or Papados, but they had food. I always made sure they had clothing. It wasn't high-end name brand clothing unless I got it from a thrift store, which I have on the occasion done. I wear clothes from the thrift store. I always made sure they had shelter. Wasn't in the penthouse condo or the 5-bedroom house with 4 bathrooms on 2 acres of land, but they had housing. And I always made sure that they went to school and that they had their school supplies. It was not private school. As a matter of fact, at one point, one of my children was in private school, and I took him out because I couldn't afford it, 1, and 2, the curriculum was going to shock me. I won't say. It just wasn't what it used to be. So I took him out. Sometimes that child support is paying the light bill, the gas bill, it's paying for internet, and it's paying for the telephone so the child can get to you, internet so the child can do research, light and gas so the child can have the electricity that they need, and the gas for the food to be cooked, heat so that they have heat in the winter time. I need all non-custodial parents to get the grip on that and start paying their child support. And if you can't pay what the court has ordered, do something. Send something. If all you have is $5, do you know that $5 could go towards bus fare for that child to get to school and back home? If all you have is $10, and do you know that that child could use that $10 to go towards lunch? Or they got a trip coming up and they have to have a trip fee, and the trip fee just happens to be $10. Do something. Send something. Make arrangements. Get on the phone and call the mother or the father, whomever you're paying, and say, look, I don't have $150 this month, but I do have $50. I will be glad to bring it over to you so that you can do what you need to do with that $50. And as soon as I get the whole thing, I'll make sure you get it. Do what you're supposed to do for your children. That's the same money that you would be spending if you were in the household. And you'll probably end up spending more if you were living in the household. There are some mothers that misuse that money. I know of someone right now who has several children by several different men. She's only getting child support from one, and she expects that child support from that one man to cover all of those children, even though he's only responsible for one. So she will go to court to make certain that that child support is increased as often as she can, so that that one check supports all of those children, although he only fathered one. So yeah, there are some that misuse it. It's really rather unfortunate, and shame on those that do, but shame on the non-custodial parent that isn't paying child support based on their belief that the money will be misused. So that's all I'm going to say about that right now. It could go a whole lot deeper. I could absolutely go a whole lot deeper on this topic, but I will not. I again appreciate you reading the blog. I appreciate you watching the videos. I appreciate you, not just this video, but all of my videos, any of my videos. I truly appreciate you. So on that, I will say peace and blessings. Remember to walk in your purpose. And again, know that I appreciate you.